Hello and welcome to Business Insider with Mario Toneguzzi on YYC Business. Joining me today is Ahmed Borhot, who is the Regional Operations Leader for Manpower Alberta. Thanks for joining us today, Ahmed.
Thanks, Mario.
Well, you folks put out your Employment Outlook survey today. It describes Calgary as having a quote-unquote mild hiring climate as we enter the third quarter of the year, going into the third quarter of the year. Tell me a little bit about that, Ahmed. Why do you guys consider it a mild climate?
Awesome. So I guess my first piece, Mario, I'll start off by saying what the Manpower Employment Outlook survey is. It's a forward-looking employment survey, #1 largest one in the world. In Calgary, like you mentioned, it's a mild hiring climate, net employment outlook of positive 5%. 10% of employers plan to hire, 5% of employers plan to expect cutbacks, and 74% are expecting to maintain current staffing levels. So it's a mild hiring climate in terms of only 10% are expecting to hire. But we're cautiously optimistic that with the reopening from the pandemic and everything else, that hiring will be going on. And there's obviously more components to this survey than just that number. But I can get into that after once we debrief all your questions.
Okay, super. Well, tell me, how does that look compared to a year ago? Or even last month as well?
Yeah, so previous quarter, it's on the same wavelength, 5%, but it's a major spike compared to Q3 2020, where we're a 27% increase. So last year, going into Q3 2020, we were actually negative 22%, I believe it is. Wow. So yeah, but that was the start of the pandemic. That was really the start of the lockdowns and everything else. So we expected not the greatest survey results from Q3 2020, and only the sample size too. Typically we get about 2,000 employers. Since COVID hit, we're roughly getting about 1,000. For this survey, we were able to get 1,300, but the sample size at this time last year was substantially smaller, as well as a lot of companies just weren't able to provide answer the survey at all. So we weren't able to provide a proper sample size for Q3 2020 as well, but substantial difference.
So tell me, as we go down a little further into some of these numbers, with 10% planning to hire for the quarter, what typically are the industries that are looking to hire right now?
Mm-hmm. So the top three right now are public administration utilities, manufacturing, durables and non-durables, and transportation, public utilities. So those are the top three. With significant, the one thing that's awesome news is all 4 regions that are mentioned in the survey throughout Canada all have positive outlooks, and all 10 verticals that we looked into are in the positive outlooks as well. But the top 3 would be public admin, manufacturing, durables, non-durables, and transportation.
Okay, and the flip side of that, the 5% anticipating cutbacks, where is that mostly coming from?
We don't have data based on the survey to show us where exactly the cutbacks are going to be. Based on the survey we did, the lowest verticals, they're still in the positives, but at a very, very minimal number. Construction, wholesale and retail trade, education are the bottom 3.
Okay, as we move forward, Ahmed, obviously, when we're going to be looking at Q4, a lot of the stuff that's been going on with the pandemic, hopefully, fingers crossed, will be over. Life will be fairly normal. Vaccinations in place. Are you anticipating, is Manpower anticipating a better climate come the end of the year?
That's, I think, everyone's hope. We're calling the new normal. So no one knows what the new normal is going to be, but we are hoping, with the reopening in Alberta in July, hopefully that all goes as planned, and no more lockdowns, and the vaccination records keep going up and whatnot. Hopefully, it'll be a much positive Q4 2021, and obviously going forward into 2022. That's the goal. But yeah, obviously that is our goal. Yes. So Q4 2021, we're hoping this minus any extraneous variables, we're hoping for a very positive Q4 to happen. And a lot of employers, I think it's based on our research, 79% of employers are looking at how to be more flexible when things do open up, as that is a concern for a lot of employers. People aren't wanting to go back to work for many different reasons, health related, and whatever else. So about 80%, 79% of employers are planning for a more flexible return to work option. They're trying to accommodate as best as possible, which is great from the strategy perspective to retain top talent.
When you look at the results for Calgary and even for Alberta, anything else, Ahmed, that you wanted to point out?
Yeah, so all three major cities in Alberta, Calgary, Red Deer, Edmonton, all had very good, mild, modest hiring climates. But the positive here is there is hiring happening. So we have that cautiously optimistic standpoint as per always. With the jobs report that just came out, unemployment rate slowly going down. It went from 9.0 to 8.7 this past month in May. So we're hoping that continues. Obviously very gradual, small jumps, but we're hoping more people get back into the workplace. We're hoping the quality of work goes back up in terms of part-time to full-time and all that kind of good stuff. So that's positive. All three major cities are positive. There are obstacles we keep referring to from a job seeker and from employer, two main target audiences of this survey. There's a lot of opportunities out there, but it's important to know some other statistics in regards to half employers in Canada are having a hard time filling their open roles. So based on another survey we do, talent shortage survey, 48% of the Canadian employers have a hard time filling their roles. And number one reason pre-pandemic was lack of applicants with applicable skill sets. Now, with the pandemic and everything else that's happening, a lot of people just are not able to go to work, not wanting to go to work. There's a lot of reasons why people do not want to return to the workforce once things fully open up. A lot of variables, a lot of components, a lot of moving pieces from that. A lot of reasons could be that, but half employers are having a hard time filling the roles prior to the whole pandemic and everything else. So now that new normal we keep referring to is going to be super, super important. So from the employer side, how do you attract top talent and how do you retain top talent is going to be the two biggest components for your strategy going forward. There might be some inflation as the wage hikes might have to happen right now. So that's a component employers have to worry about, as well as changing the mindset, moving from a consumer of talent to a creator of talent. So those are the components we want to get away from this survey. We want to take away from this for employers. On the job seeker side, it's the same thing, upskill and reskill. We keep saying continuous learning, upskilling, doing whatever you can to get those additional skill sets is going to be crucial. There's a ton of workforce development programs, government funded resources out there. So very, very important. Understand what the in-demand skill sets are, how to get those in-demand skill sets, and how to find the appropriate avenues to get those skill sets. So job seekers, it's all about understanding what the in-demand skill sets and who is hiring. So there's a lot of strategy on both sides, but that's what the takeaway from this survey is. There is hiring. It is mild, modest in terms of what the numbers are saying, but with the reopening and everything else, things can change overnight. So I want to take it as positive as we possibly can and use that same cautiously optimistic statement we always use, and hopefully go from there.
I just want to go to go back a bit here. Just what did you mean by when you said creators of talent?
So right now, employers they're emphasizing soft skills over technical skills. Number one, so problem solving, critical thinking, communication skills, interpersonal skills. Soft skills are taking precedence over technical skills, as a lot of time technical skills, for the most part, can be taught. But a lot of times, the whole fact of job boards and posting an ad, hoping someone applies, fits the mold of what you're looking for, hire them. It's no longer really happening as it was in the past. So right now, as even from our point of view, we're telling employers right now, based on soft skills, based on someone who has the right, the right mold for your role, that's a better option for you, and tailor them into the role you want to do. So we're trying to move away from just posting an ad, find that perfect fit. Instead, we're trying to create that perfect fit once you get into that company, whatever that employer is. So we're trying to move away from being a consumer of just posting an ad, grabbing someone off the streets, into how do we create that perfect mold for you? What assets are you requiring? What skill sets are you requiring? And then using that into the market. We have a bunch, in my main example of what I mean by this too is, we know, like, just take the tech world into consideration here as the example. There's a huge demand for software developers and some other full stack type IT tech roles, but there's not a lot of available candidates with those skill sets. So we know that we've gone to the market with the help of the government of Alberta, with the help of other educational organizations, and actually created programs that are tailored to creating those jobs that we know employers need and can't find. And we've actually created programs. The one I'm referring to is called Tech Careers. We have that in Calgary and Edmonton. And we've actually created a program that's very condensed, but gets the main gist across. And then we have them go to these companies that require the help and then kind of go from there. So that's what I mean by creating the talent. We know there's a demand in the market, and we're helping job seekers get those skills to fit into an employee's organization. So I hope that made sense, but that's kind of the gist of creating a talent.
All right, super. Well, thanks very much for joining us today, Ahmed.
As always, thanks, Mario.
All right, super. That was Ahmed Borhot, who is the Regional Operations Leader for Manpower Alberta. This has been Business Insider with Mario Toneguzzi on YYC Business. Thanks for joining us today.